Hello, everyone. My name is Corinthus Alston, and I want to talk to you about the skills we lost when convenience took over. Yeah, we are in the AI age. Everything is AI powered, but how do we stay human? I know it's crazy, right? But it is true. So, you know what? Here's the thing. I want to talk to you about just things going on now that we're living in this AI world. All right. I just turned 55 and I grew up completely different in a whole different time. See, when I wanted to answer for something, I had to go find it. I went to the library. I had to pick up books. Heck, I actually talked to mentors or people who I thought knew the answer. And then sometimes I just tried to figure it out all by myself. I sure did. And guess what? When I did that, I made some mistakes along the way. And it didn't just take a day. No, I mean, I didn't get the answer today. I didn't get the answer the week. Sometimes it actually took a month before I actually got that answer. But guess what happened? I got the answer. But today we got what? Chat GBT. We got Claude. We got Grok. Heck, you know what? Tomorrow there's gonna be something else. but whatever tool that you like, you can get an answer just like what? Just like that. And you know what? And there's nothing wrong with that. Actually, I think it's great because now you have no excuse to say, I don't know anything. But at that same time, I remember spending a lot of time in that library. Yep. And it cost me time to figure out that information. But after going through that, I started thinking, and here's the question that I think most of us really are not asking ourselves. And that question is, what happens when convenience replaces the very experience that helped develop us into who we are today? So let's think about that for a second. Technology has made things much easier. All right. That part is absolutely true. But success, real success, lasting success requires skill. An app can't give you that. An AI tool can't give you that. Automation cannot give you what success, skills, and time can actually give you. See, when I was coming up, you actually saved for things. Yeah, you waited. You had to wait for something. You learned about patience. You understood in a way you couldn't always explain it, but you can feel it. It was that thing that you can feel, the effort that you put in for waiting for something before you actually get it. But today, nope, instant, just like that. One click to buy. We get instant entertainment. We pop that phone, and we got Facebook, Instagram. It's all right there. TikTok, you're gonna get some entertainment. Same day delivery. Now, here's the thing. I remember growing up, the J.C. Penney catalog. Now, again, you have to be about 40 in order to remember the J.C. Penney catalog. But I remember that you got the catalog around in September. October, you picked something out, and then you placed an order. And the next you know, you prayed that that order came in before Christmas. But not anymore. You got Amazon. You click that button, next day is right there. Creating content, you know, that used to take time. Now, again, I'm gonna go back maybe 10 or 15 years. You actually had to go to an ad agency. You had to know someone in marketing. They had to think of the idea, draw it out, put it on a picture board. Not anymore, because what we have AI that can generate a poster just like that. It can actually now generate content. You can actually clone yourself. Voila, you got a meme. And here is the risk. Here's the risk. We are starting to expect results at the same speed that technology delivers them. We do. We do. Again, I told you, I just turned 55. But now it seems like when we get a text, the expectation is that I need to text you right back, not within 5 minutes, not within three, no, within seconds. But in business, business doesn't really work that way. Careers don't work that way. Relationships don't work that way. And trust doesn't work that way. I know, I know. This is personal, right? When I lost everything, I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna hear where I'm going. There was a time I had everything, lost it all. And I mean everything. There was no button for me to hit reset. There was no button for me to rebuild my life. No, recovery required what? Patience. I just told you that. One decision at a time and one opportunity at a time. So here's what I need you to write down. Get a sheet of paper, just write it down. All right. First thing, success still operates on delayed gratification, even when technology doesn't. Can I say it again? I'm going to rewind for you. Success still operates on delayed gratification, even when technology doesn't. There was a time when if something was broken, you figured it out. You experimented. You researched it. You asked questions. You learned through trial and error. But today, most people want an instant answer to that broken item. They search for it. And now with AI, you don't have to search anymore. It just pops up. Bam. Here it is. Just like that. Now, before, remember, if something broke, you had to go look at it. You had to go and search for that. Again, there's nothing wrong. I'm not saying there's nothing wrong. And I'm not here to tell you to stop using AI, because I need us to look at the other side of the coin. We stopped developing the ability to think through our own problems. We became dependent on technology to help us navigate problems that we ourselves had to figure out back in the day. Yeah, I said back in the day. All right. And what I want to make clear about this is because I use AI every single day in my business. Heck, I teach people how to use AI. But the goal is not to avoid AI. The goal is to make AI more willing to assist you in your thinking and not to replace your thinking. Now, say it with me. Assisting with your thinking and not replacing your thinking. The people who are going to win in this new AI era are not the ones who are asking the most questions. They are the people who know which questions to ask and which tool to use when it comes to AI. See, use AI as a tool, not as a replacement for thought or judgment. But a lot of us is using it as a replacement for thought and judgment. You got to remember, not long ago, relationships were built on conversations, real ones, in person, eye to eye. I see your eyeballs, you see my eyeballs, and guess what? We had a conversation. We actually talked. Did you know more people text each other and spend 30, 40 minutes texting each other instead of just grabbing that phone and picking up and say, hey, did you know about that? And having those conversations, AI, the one thing AI can't do is to build trust between you and another person without you actually having a conversation. So I just want to tell you that so many of our interactions happen in this new digital age. And we need to get back to what I call everyday communication. Now, we need to use AI, because we need to be efficient and we need to be able to respond. I have this thing when I teach AI, there is money in the response. And what I mean by that is that when you actually are getting a customer and you make that initial conversation, it's not that initial conversation that people remember you, it's the response. Next day, when you follow up and say, hey, you remember I met you at such and such. People remember that. And that's how it is. People remember that. So I want you to know there's these are things that you need to understand about business. People still buy from people they trust. People still follow leaders who actually connect with them, and people still hire people who communicate well. Not AI, but people who communicate well. Technology can scale your communications, but only human connection is what creates the influence. This is the thing that we are actually forgetting. And you can't say that you haven't tried anything, that you haven't tried um, to to actually make these things happen. But we need to get back into that old school picking up the phone and talking to someone. And don't say you're bored. Don't say you're bored. There was a time where boredom was good. Boredom was actually no. You know what? In boredom, that's when you figure things out. Yeah, in the waiting rooms, long car rides. We didn't have Nintendo Switches. No, we didn't have cell phones. All right, we had to figure things out. And that's where I think the gap of having technology and then being able to have that quiet time so you can actually figure things out just like we used to. Because boredom is where creativity lives. Boredom is where reflections actually happen with us. And boredom is where innovation begins. All of this happens when you are bored. That's when you have some of the greatest ideas that has ever happened in the history of mankind. When someone was like, I have some time. I need to figure this out. And it was through that boredom, creativity was born. If every moment of your life is consumed, creativity will never happen or it will never appear. So there was a time when failure was unavoidable. We had to fail. And through that failure, we learned persistence. We learned how to adapt and we learned to recover. But today, most systems are designed to remove failure, to remove discomfort, to remove the struggle, and to remove the weight. I have this again, I have a 10-year-old, guys. And one of the things I teach him that it is okay to fail because it's in the failure that you are actually learning and where you're actually building character. Sorry, I digress. But growth still happens through the struggle. All right. So there are lessons that help shape us that we can get through the convenience. Okay. The challenges of lives, the setbacks that we've actually endured, the things that we had to rebuild to help grow ourselves. So I want to leave you with this, just a couple of questions. Again, I'm not trying to hit you over the head, but I just want to leave you with something that I need you to think about. AI can make you faster, but it can't make you wiser. Convenience make life just a little bit easier, but it can't build your character. The future doesn't belong to the people who reject technology. It belongs to those people who combine technology with what I call that human experience that technology can never, ever replace. And lastly, I'm going to ask you three quick questions, just three. And again, I'm just trying to make it simple. The first one, what skill have you stopped practicing since technology has came into existence? What challenge are you avoiding because convenience is offering an easier way? And what human experience is going to make you irreplaceable in this AI age? It's about making sure we don't lose one while we're trying to build the other. Again, is convenience Have you lost that touch because of convenience? And by the way, if you get a chance, I just wrote a book, Remember When How We Grew Up. So if you get a chance, you go to Amazon.com, Remember How We Grew Up, Corinthus Alston, and please purchase it. And it talks about all those experiences. Thank you.